Hi, my name's Molly and welcome to my bookish corner of the internet. Hi! So here is that different background that I promised you. It's very exciting. I will give you a proper bookshelf tour at some point because, not to blow my own trumpet, I think they look amazing. I apologise for the lighting, it's vaguely late so there's no daylight and I was in the mood to film a video, so I thought I would just go for it anyway. I apologise for the bad lighting and probably bad audio because I don't want to talk too loudly because I have flatmates and the fridge also just turned on. Today I thought I would do the Netflix book tag. I obviously haven't been tagged by anyone, but I thought that I would do it anyway because I just really like watching the videos of it. This is like my perfect tag because I always have Netflix on in the background while I'm reading, so this suits me really well. The last book I finished reading was The Mind Readers by Laurie Brighton. I have the entire series on my phone, but I've only ever read the first one a few years ago, and I suddenly decided that I really wanted to have the whole series finished, so I reread the first one. They're not brilliant books, but they're fun and they're written fairly well. I think they're the best edited and well put together indie published books, or self-published books even, that I've ever read. I like to have a book open on my phone at all times, not necessarily the one I'm actually reading, and I just sort of dip in and out of it. Like if I'm in bed in the morning and I can't bother to get my book, or if I'm like waiting for something to boil, or just little quick moments where I can just open my phone and just read for a bit. I'm not massively sure I've got a legitimate answer for this question because I don't know if people actually specifically recommend me books very often. The first book that came to mind and that I can actually see and that I have with me is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I'll just move it about so you can actually see it. It's got foil on the cover, which is so pretty. This is a Alice in Wonderland retelling, I think, and it's by the author of the Lunar Chronicles, which I adored, hence why people tend to tell me to read this because I like retellings. I love Alice in Wonderland and I love the Lunar Chronicles, so this seems like a really good fit for a book for me. The last book I bought was actually here when I got to uni, so my dad had bought a lot of my post that was at his with him, and I'd forgotten that I'd pre-ordered this book, so I got to open it here and I was like, oh, another book to have here, and that is Pumpkinhead by Ive Read. This is actually a signed book. It has a signed book template, I think. There's a map in it, I didn't see the map. But yeah, so there's a signed, let's try and get it so you can actually see it. There's a signed book plate in there, and this is my first ever signed Ive Read and one of my first ever like signed books, so I'm really excited. I had it on pre-order and I just love her writing and I love graphic novels and I'm just really excited. Also, this is the most orange I have ever seen. I opened it and I was like, there's a highlighter on my book. I just think this will be a super cute read. I will read anything Ive Read writes, obviously. I'm still trying to get my hands on the Runaway collections, but they're kind of hard to find in the UK and super expensive. But I'm desperate to read this, but I'm desperately trying to save it for October because I think that it's such a perfect October read and it'll be all cosy and autumnal, and I'm just really excited to read it. The art is also super cute. I love it a lot. This is kind of what it looks like. I'm so sorry about this lighting. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. It's super cute. I think that it'll be a lot of fun to read and I'm hoping that it'll be a fairly quick read. Also, for some reason, this guy kind of reminds me of Levi from Fangirl, and therefore I'm doubly excited. So the two I've read are Children of Blood and Bone, which I absolutely adored, and I also just love this colour scheme so much. This is such a good read and fairly unique from what I can tell. I don't think I've read much like this before, and I just think the cover's so beautiful and the writing's so beautiful, and it's just such a cool story that I'm so excited for the sequel. This is definitely worth the hype. The second book is A Darker Shade of Magic. This is obviously the first in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I really loved this trilogy and I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of the first one by now. It was really cool for me for it to be set in alternative Londons because it meant I could kind of see where it was based off and where it was coming from, and when it was talking about Grey London I was like, I kind of know what this is because it's kind of like the actual English history, and it was just really cool for me to read and I really enjoyed it. I find this question really hard because I have no intentions of reading a lot of books and then I end up reading them because I find them really cheap, or someone's like, no, you need to read it, and then I end up really enjoying them, so I try not to be too biased anymore. But the first book that immediately came to mind was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Is that right? I don't know. It just doesn't interest me at all, really. It's just not really my thing, and I always hear really good things about it, but there's just something in me that doesn't really want to read it, so it's not something I would ever pick up. It's also something I've never really seen in the UK. I've never seen it like in any bookshops or in any charity shops. I could be so wrong on that. I could have literally just never seen it, but it's not really talked about here, and I've never seen any advertising for it, I don't think. So it's just not something I'm ever likely to see or pick up, and if I was going to buy it, it would have to be a really good deal in like a charity shop or a second-hand sale or something, which, because it's not really available here, it'd be even less likely to appear there, if that makes sense. So it's just something I have access to and not something that I am determined to find. Another really popular book that I saw floating around YouTube probably a couple of years ago now, it feels more recent than that, but I don't think it is, and that's a fantasy book called Truth Witch. I have never actually seen it in the UK, I've only ever seen it online, so I'm very unlikely to have access to it anytime soon, and although I love fantasy, it just doesn't massively appeal to me at all. It's not likely to ever be high enough on my priority reads that I'll ever actually get to it, I don't think, especially because I think it would be so hard to get to here anyway. For this one, I'm going to go with this little collection by Rainbow Rowell, specifically the Kindred Spirit story. I actually have it in a little like World Book Day single book up there, but this is too pretty to not hold this one up and hold that one up instead, so enjoy this magnificence. But I really loved Kindred Spirits, and I just really like Rainbow Rowell's stories and her short stories anyway. Also, this edition is super cute because it's illustrated. They're gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations, and I just love this book. I kind of read it every Christmas and festive period. This story's about New Year's, I think, and it's really cute as well. They're both just adorable and worth reading, but I just found the second story really funny and the ending made me giggle, so yeah, I definitely really like this one, and it's definitely quite a funny, fast-paced read. Oh my god, for this question I have to go with Monty from A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. This book is amazing for anyone that hasn't read it. They're so good. Even if it doesn't sound like your thing, pick it up. It's one of the funniest books I've ever read, and I nearly put this in the previous question, but I need to have him as my drama queen because he's such a drama queen. His full name is Lord Henry Montague, so I don't know if you couldn't be a drama queen with that kind of name. Obviously, this is kind of a historical fiction, and it's just so unique, and I just absolutely loved it. Again, it was really cool to hear about cities that I've been to and different places in Europe that I recognise, especially London, obviously. I always find that really cool in books, and it helps me kind of immerse myself in the world a little bit more. But Henry is the kind of guy that in this gets thrown into situations where he has to sleep on hay bales or on floor, and it's not something that he ideally wants. He's just the perfectly flamboyant drama queen, and I just adore his character. So I was about to show you my newly acquired copy of Pumpkinhead again, just so I could show you how pretty it was again, and then I remembered that I actually own the first volume of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I read the comic online, so I really wanted to support her when this came out, and I found it in my bookshop. I can't afford the second one currently, otherwise I would love to have it, but I just love these characters and the story so much, and it's so heartwarming, and again, I love graphic novels, and it's just really nice to be able to support her published version rather than just her online version. If you are someone within the LGBT community, this is such a good read, and honestly really relatable. This is kind of another perfect question for me because I always have so many books I want to reread. I even put some back on my TBR shelf if I feel like I haven't read them recently enough, or if I really don't remember what happened. As I talked about in my last video, I actually really want to reread the Lunar Chronicles. I love these books. I love fantasy and I love sci-fi and I love retellings, and I just think these are so well done. So these are kind of an ideal series for me. I haven't reread these since the first time I finished them. I finished them in 2016, 2017 ish, I think, so I'm hoping I will love them just as much this time around. I'm pretty sure I will. Although, unpopular opinion, Scarlet's my favourite. Everyone loves Cress, and I think that Scarlet's the best one. So in fact, this is some people's most hated, and I would die for Scarlet. I would die for Scarlet and I would die for Wolf, and I love them together, and they are small precious beings that need to be protected at all costs, okay? I don't read massive amount of non-fiction. I'm often not very keen on it. One book that I would recommend to anyone who likes the show Gilmore Girls is Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between. It's by the actress that plays Lorelai. I listened to the audiobook, which is very unlike me. I'm not very keen on audiobooks most of the time, but it was narrated by her and I listened to it while I was prepping for my art A-level exam, I think. As a fan of the show, it was just really cool to hear about different bits, and it was really cool to hear about her life and her acting career and kind of where she'd been and where she wanted to go, and I thought it was really well done. I think that Daughter of a Pirate King is a perfect book for this question. It kind of drops you in the middle of the action and you kind of spend a lot of the first bit trying to guess what's going on and who everyone is, and people are saying who they are and you're trying to work out who they actually are, and I just think this is a really action-packed read. I also love anything to do with pirates or mermaids and badass female characters and female pirates, so this is just a perfect fit for this question. A book that came out fairly recently, I think it came out in July, is the sequel to a book I adored, which is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. The sequel is called Soul of Stars, and I think the series is set to be a duology, so I think it's the last one and I need to read it so soon, but I can't afford it. I just adore it and I just want the sequel so badly. If I put this one under my pillow at night, maybe the Tooth Fairy might gift me the sequel. So I tag anyone that wants to do this tag. I had a lot of fun doing this video and I think this is a really cool and fun tag. I know it's been around for a while, but I just think it's a fairly unique idea. Anyone that sees this video that wants to do it, hasn't already done it, feel free. I wasn't tagged by anyone, so here you go. Here is your tagging that you can say if you feel the need to be tagged to be able to do it. If you did like this video, please click that like button because that kind of makes sense. If you'd like to see more of my face, then subscribe. But thank you for watching this video, thank you for spending time with me, and I'll hopefully see you very soon. Bye! I obviously now live with other people and therefore this is slightly embarrassing.